Good evening and welcome to your #1 agricultural program, Transforming Agriculture in Nigeria. I'm your regular host, Gabriel Ojile. Tonight, we are discussing the initiative of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security towards developing a national soil health card scheme. What is the soil health card all about, and how would that ensure food security in Nigeria? What does it entail, and what are the benefits therein for Nigerians? We have answers to these questions in this episode of the program. But before then, the news from the diary of the Federal Minister of Agriculture and Food Security. Keep watching.
Every part of Nigeria has something to offer.
In our lineup, NAG's app introduces insurance to mitigate agricultural risk. Also, Agri Ministry inaugurates committee to capture accurate data of farmers. Stay tuned for details after this break. The Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security has taken steps to introduce insurance packages into the National Agricultural Growth Scheme and Agro Pocket NAGSAP to mitigate the risk farmers may experience in the course of implementing the second phase of the program.
Honorable Minister of State for Agriculture and Food Security.
Speaking during a workshop organized by the ministry to train the trainers on insurance, the Minister of State, Federal Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Aliu Sabi Abdullahi, stated that the increasing effect of climate change makes it necessary for farmers to insure their farms against any unforeseen risk that may militate against their investments.
It is more evident than ever that we need a climate risk mitigation solution to close the many protection gaps arising from climate change risks, such as floods, droughts, pests, diseases, etc., capable of leading to crop failure or harvest losses. We must highlight one of the unfortunate incidences of the 2023 wet farming season, whereby ginger farmers in Kaduna State suffered immensely from the outbreak of the ginger blight disease. Farmers in that area lost over 90% of their total harvest in that season. Only a few of those farmers who had investment with the National Agricultural Insurance Corporation, NAIC, received some monetary compensation for that unfortunate harvest losses. This set of farmers could boast of returning to their farms without little or no financial assistance, unlike their uninsured counterparts who have to dip into their meager savings to be able to continue farming.
Insurance is very critical.
Also speaking during the workshop, the Managing Director, Nigeria Agricultural Insurance Corporation, Folashade Joseph, stated that insurance is very important and introducing it into the scheme will be of immense benefit to farmers.
Insurance, in summary, is what if. So what if there is no rain at all? What if there is too much rain? And what if the pests and insects destroy the farmland? And that is why we must take insurance, so that we can sustain all our agribusinesses from production across the value chain.
Technologically.
Also speaking, the National Coordinator, National Agricultural Growth Scheme and Agro Pocket NAGSAP say that they have identified the gaps of insurance in the scheme, and the workshop will train the trainers and brainstorm with key stakeholders on the insurance aspect of the scheme.
And we have looked at it that the insurance component to address the changes the farmers and factors the farmers are facing through in their production. That is issue relating to flood, that is issue relating to drought, issue relating to pests, issue related to diseases, and what have you, need to incorporate it into the SOP so that along the line the farmer will be more comfortable and he can be able to assure that yes, he is already covered in his production activities.
Means that, as you said, ensuring
The Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, in collaboration with the National Identity Management Commission, has inaugurated a committee to have accurate data of farmers to enhance government interventions in the agricultural sector. The Permanent Secretary, Temitope Peter Fashedemi, on behalf of the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari, inaugurated the committee in Abuja. At the ceremony, the minister stated that the task of the committee is to develop a robust farmers database that will help the ministry in planning and policy making towards ensuring food security in Nigeria.
Your task really is, as I've said earlier, is to develop effective modalities that will ensure the proper collaboration between the ministry and MC so that we can be able to achieve a seamless and effective database that assists the country to get the desired results from all our agricultural policies and projects and developmental practices. So I charge you with the following responsibilities for record purposes. 1, develop a comprehensive work plan with clear timelines, roles, and responsibilities for each phase of the data capture initiative. 2, design robust database collection tools and methodologies to capture essential farmer information, including personal identification, farm size, crop types, etc. 3, identify training programs for field officers and data collectors to ensure data accuracy and consistency. 4, establish clear terms and conditions for the collaboration between the ministry and MC so that we can foster a stronger partnership.
The minister charged members of the committee to do their job diligently for a positive outcome. Soil testing and other modern agricultural practices are the ways to ensure food security in the ever-changing world. This is because understanding the fertility status of the soil determines what crop to plant and what quantity and type of fertilizer to apply. This underscores why the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security has come up with an initiative for developing National Farmer Soil Health Card Scheme. In the next segment, Records of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, we are focusing on the benefits of this initiative and efforts that have been put in to bring the initiative into reality. Please stay tuned.
Agricultural land in Nigeria cuts across the agroecological zones of Sudan Savannah, Sahel Savannah, Guinea Savannah, rainforest, freshwater swamp, Montana, and the mangrove swamp zone.
The nation is about 92.4 million hectares of land. The country as a whole is about 92.4 million hectares of land. And as it is, it's a range. It's between 77 to 79 million hectares of land is arable and can be used for agricultural purpose. But presently, between 34 to 35 million hectares of land is being cultivated.
The different soil compositions and the nutrients determine the crops that can thrive in specific locations, as well as the quantities and type of fertilizer to apply. But unfortunately, the last national soil mapping and survey in Nigeria was carried out in 1980. Consequently, majority of smallholder farmers today have no knowledge of their soil fertility status. The renewed hope agenda of the present administration is, however, poised to change the narrative, and the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security has begun the process of developing the National Soil Health Card Scheme for farmers and other investors.
The soil testing is to make us equally provide soil maps, soil fertility maps for our farmers, for investors who wish to have a foreknowledge of what your soil entails. So we have equally commenced that, and this government has started what we call the National Farmer Soil Health Card Scheme. It is a process of ensuring that soil assessment is brought closer to our farmers. And by that way, they can have, we're going to generate what we call the soil health card. We give them an holistic information about the nutrient status of their soil, locationally, location-wise. This way, the fertilizer blenders will be able to blend according to their location nutrient requirements. And as such, we are going to eliminate blanket fertilizer application.
Some major steps taken so far to develop the National Soil Health Card Scheme include inauguration of Committee on National Soil Health Card Scheme, workshop on the implementation of National Soil Health Card Scheme, among others.
The inauguration of the National Executive Technical Committee.
The Minister of State, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Aliyu Sabi Abdullahi, in July 2024, inaugurated an Executive Technical Committee on the implementation of the National Soil Health Card Scheme. During the inauguration, he stated that the National Soil Health Card Scheme is a vital initiative that would shape Nigeria's agricultural sector by providing soil health data and ensure agricultural productivity.
This committee will represent a significant milestone in the ministry's effort to prioritize soil health, enhance agricultural productivity, and ensure a food secure future for our country. The Nigerian Farmer Soil Health Card Scheme, administered by this ministry under the Agric Land and Climate Change Management Services Department, is designed to stand as a pivotal initiative aiming to integrate principles of agroecology and regenerative agriculture in line with the vision of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR for a strongly revived and vibrant agricultural sector towards a national food system transformation.
I want to urge the executive members.
Also during the inauguration, the Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, Temitope Peter Fashedemi, congratulated members of the committee and urged them to timely deliver on the mandate given to them.
I want to urge the executive members of this scheme. First, we congratulate you, but we urge you to approach your responsibilities with efficiency, strong sense of duty, and determination to make the Nigerian Farmers Soil Health Card Scheme a resounding success. And by God's grace, today's inauguration will be recalled as the beginning of a new era in Nigeria's agricultural sector. Once again, I say a big thank you for your time and effort for making today possible, and we urge you to ensure that you follow diligently the schedule of activities as lined up so that we can meet up with the timeline when the actual launching of the soil health card scheme can be done by His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
In order to maintain the soil health of the program,
the chairman of the committee and director, Agricultural Land and Climate Change Management Services, Oshadia Olanikbekun, stated that soil health card scheme would promote right application of fertilizers, prevent soil degradation, and generate employment.
under the scheme, we are going to establish soil testing laboratories across the 774 local government. We are going to create employment. We are going to introduce or improve timeline in analysis of soil samples. We are going to make it a single window approach for collection in order to issue the soil health card to farmers. Once the soil health card is issued to farmers, blenders will be able to blend according to recommendations. This way, we'll be able to eliminate blanket fertilizer application, which has been the bane of soil degradation in the country.
And the directors of the ministry. Thank you all. Kindly be seated.
Subsequently, in August 2024, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, in collaboration with German Agency for International Cooperation, organized a workshop on the implementation of the National Soil Health Card Scheme. Stakeholders who attended the workshop include the Minister of State, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, the Director, Agricultural Land and Climate Change Management, Nigeria Institute of Soil Science, Executive Director, Institute for Agricultural Research and Training, President of All Farmers Association of Nigeria, professors in the field of soil science and other soil scientists, development partners, and the media. The objective of the workshop was to brainstorm on developing the soil health card for a nation, develop implementation strategies to ensure the success of the scheme, sell the project idea to key stakeholders, create the interest of the key stakeholders in the scheme, and enhance collaboration among the stakeholders. The stakeholders affirmed that the Nigeria Farmer Soil Health Card Scheme would give information on fertility status of farmland, define appropriate soil fertility management practices, improve soil health and fertility, improve extension and advisory practices, generate employment, data-driven decision-making, among other benefits. The National Soil Health Card Scheme will also be very helpful in tracing agricultural produce to farms where they are produced. The expert suggested that it should be produced both digitally and manually to service the different farmers and other users.
We have to combine the use of soil sensors, drones, satellite, and legacy data to generate robust soil information system for the country. And the more we get into it, the more we are populating our data, the more our prediction is better.
The plan of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security is to establish soil laboratories in the 774 local government areas of the country to enhance soil testing and job creation. The National Soil Health Card Scheme will provide soil fertility data for each farm. The Soil Health Card is expected to have the following features: farmers' information, soil sample information, soil test result, fertilizer recommendation, land and water management practice, crop suitability, contact information, method of fertilizer application, among others. The Soil Health Card is expected to be based on each farm and not just agroecological zones.
The land use, the management we implement in the soil also causes changes and variation in the soils. So this is telling us that we will have a challenge, even in terms of the suitability are different, even in terms of the quality or health status may change after time and space. So especially in a context we are now, because of the intensification of the production. Year in, year out, we cultivate the land. So definitely we have a very big challenge of maintaining the quality status or health status of the soil. And because of variability, we cannot say we are going to use a uniform kind of recommendation. So a recommendation, management recommendation we give to soil A is not the same recommendation we give to soil B, even within the same soil.
The Minister of State, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security during the workshop assured stakeholders of federal government's political will and readiness to fund the projects.
Helping Nigerian farmers to be more productive by helping them to cut out the wastage that happens on the soil, I think is one of the most innovative interventions that we can be making on behalf of the Nigerian farmers. And I believe the president of the AFAN is here, so the voice of farmers are here. And I know he has said this to me, this is the first time this kind of thinking is happening for Nigerian farmers. So I want to thank you most sincerely for coming. And for our partners, the days of lack of political will is gone.
The Soil Health Card will be produced and given to farmers free of charge.
We are packaging this program because we want anybody to make money out of it. What are we getting today? The amount of money we are spending trying to solve this crisis, 10% of it will not be spent to run this program on a running basis. And I think Nigerian farmers deserve to be supported because they are already in the field working. We should help them to work better. We should help them to be more productive. That is the promise of Renew Hope from President Bola Ahmed.
Tinubu.
Smallholder farmer just wants to scale.
Stakeholders at the workshop were grouped into Farmers Group, Researchers Group, Extension Group, Processing Group, Marketing Group, and the Consumers Group. Each of these groups made their presentations on the development of the Soil Health Card Scheme and the implementation strategies.
It will be good for us to know ahead of time so that we can begin to prepare ourselves.
The program is transforming agriculture in Nigeria, and we are discussing the importance of the National Soil Health Card Scheme and efforts of stakeholders to develop a soil health card for the nation. Our crew interacted with different stakeholders during the workshop on the implementation of the National Soil Health Card Scheme, and they expressed their thoughts on the scheme and made their recommendations. Their views form the thrust of our next segment, Partnership for Development. Stay tuned.
For Professor Ishaku Amabo, a professor of soil science at the Institute for Agricultural Research, Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, the soil scientists that will carry out soil testing for the scheme should take a good representative sampling that would give accurate information about the soil and the Nigeria farmers.
What I'm recommending is that the program should actually focus on individual farms, individual farmers' farms. We know that it's not possible to cover everywhere at the same time, but we can start gradually and eventually we'll move to as many farms as possible. So individual farms necessary because we want site-specific recommendation. Site-specific recommendation. Soils are highly variable. You may find that a farm that is just next to yours is completely different because different managements have been put on these various farms. So they will be different, they will not be the same. So if you have to take a general information from all the soils, you may find that the type of recommendations you give may be misleading for some of the fields.
Professor Olumuyiwa James Jayoba, President, Association of Deans of Agriculture in Nigeria Universities, revealed that the academia is working to technically support the ministry to develop the scheme.
By the time this scheme starts, and we are able to develop a system that the students are also carried along. We train them on how this soil health card operate. They are going to be the technical expert, the extension people, agent that will go to their community, that will explain it, that will break it down to their parents, to their uncles, to their neighbors, to their colleagues in the villages. And so the student is very, they are in a very critical position in this project. And that is why we, the academia, we are here.
The President, All Farmers Association of Nigeria, Architect Kabir Ibrahim, described the scheme as a laudable game changer, which farmers should embrace.
It's very laudable. In fact, it's supposed to be the game changer because farmers are always complaining of the cost of inputs, particularly fertilizers. You know, we've been using generic fertilizers, buying fertilizers with constituents that our soils do not even need. So we are spending a lot of money. In fact, when you go to the market now, smallholder farmers cannot afford fertilizers. So this effort is likely to bring down what farmers spend on their farmlands, because we will now be using crop-specific and soil-specific fertilizers. And some of these soils may not take fertilizers wholesome. They will take special blends, maybe with less exorbitant prices as obtained when we buy the generic ones. So for us, from the business point of view, a farmer will now be able to spend far less than they would otherwise spend if they use soil-specific and crop-specific fertilizers.
For other stakeholders, the National Soil Health Card Scheme would boost the knowledge base of farmers and improve productivity.
The entire scheme is going to go a long way in boosting productivity, and also it's going to boost the knowledge base, because a lot of farmers, including even the indigenous ones that have been doing that for 100 years, they are just doing it by guesswork. thank God for science and technology. It's going to add a lot of value. It's going to increase the productivity. It's going to increase the profitability. And it's going to put an end to drudgery among the farmers. And it's going to bring a lot of encouragement to existing farmers. And also it's going to encourage a lot of investment by new intending farmers too.
For me personally, and as a representative of the Soil Values Program, it's a very laudable initiative by the government and a good timing on soil health, because so far in Nigeria, the investment on soil health management has not been really given the importance it should be. But for government to identify this in order to achieve a major issue of addressing food security in Nigeria, this is a very good timing.
The National Soil Health Card Scheme promises to reduce costs and upscale production. We look forward to seeing this laudable project become a reality. This is where we draw the curtain on this week's episode of the program. Join us again, same time, same station next week for another impactful package. Good night.